Hey everybody, it's Dave Juno, the Meniere's Disease Warrior. How y'all doing? I'm doing pretty well, actually. I can't complain too much. So I had my follow-up yesterday from the ear infection that I have, and she said my ear looked better, but the infection is still there. So she sucked out more of my infection and put me back on the Cipro dexamethasone drops, for another week. Rest for another week so we can get rid of this thing. I'm getting tired of it. Because it's like it affects your hearing, and because sometimes the fluid comes out. Ugh. At least it's not that pussy stuff anymore. But it's the fluid still coming out and this and that. So she thinks these ear infections are caused by the hole in my eardrum. So when I got to go for another follow up next month, and we're going to discuss putting a doing a graft on my eardrum um, to um, to fix that hole. So hopefully these infections will stop because this isn't the first one I've had in this ear. So hopefully that's what we're going to do, and it's going to work because you got a hole there. It's going straight in. Anything can get in here, bacteria, water, whatever. Um, so yeah, we got to get it fixed. I know it'll be like my fourth surgery within a year and all this stuff. Um, but hey, I want to get done because they knock you out. It's like an hour and a half surgery. They knock you out, and that's fine. I think the next appointment I am going to talk to her about my station tubes too, because I think they can do that angioplasty thing because my tubes are um, deformed, but they could straighten them out, I guess. So I'm going to talk to her about that as well. But it was a good appointment, and as always, I always bring a couple of questions with me. One of the questions was I did have some vertigo on Saturday, not not Saturday, Monday. Not bad. I mean, it wasn't like hours like before. It was like about 15 minutes. And I told her because I tell my doctors everything, and usually write everything down. And she said, I think that's more from the infection and the fluid buildup than the Meniere's. So, that's half the reason why I want you to just rest the rest of the week. Make sure. She's pretty sure it's from the infection. That there's a reason why I got the vertigo, but not the surgery. But like I said to her, with a big grin on my face, I've had a girl, okay, that's one attack I've had in 6 months. I'll take that compared to two, three, four, sometimes five times a week. So I'll take that. That's good. Okay. Because, there is no cure for Meniere's disease. I don't care what anybody says, there's no cure. Okay. Or no cure yet. So we talked about that. And then I asked her about beta histine, and she was like, well, there are people that it works for and they're gung ho about it, and there are other people that it doesn't. And she goes, I don't have a problem prescribing it. If you wanted to try it before we did that surgery, I'd let you do it. It's very expensive. And I did say I can't take it because my body produces too much histamine. I said when my dog cut my arm a couple of weeks ago, fooling around with her, and my arm blew up like a balloon. I get stung by a ground hornet or bee or something, my arm blows up. So I said, yeah, I get an abundance of histamine. I said I get hives sometimes. No reason. Allergy tests were all negative. She goes, oh, I definitely wouldn't give it to you. Because she said the same thing. You know, you'd be taking that and then taking a Benadryl. It wouldn't do anything for you. Um, so, she goes, I do prescribe it. I let people try it, but she goes, a lot of my patients that they don't respond to it, so I kind of don't. And then we mentioned I did talk about antiviral with her, and just for her opinion of what she thought, because I saw Dr. Gasek, who is antiviral king as far as I'm concerned, and I said how somebody posted something that said 70 to 80% of all Meniere's cases are antiviral, and she goes, listen, I knew Dr. Gasek too. I worked with him. And I said, I don't really remember him ever saying that. I've heard him say some people, people do respond to this, but I never heard him give a percentage. And she said she gets 70-80% is like what you did with both ears. If like the surgeries didn't work, and then you took the antiviral, and all of a sudden it worked, the vertigo stopped and everything. She goes, that's about 70-80%. Usually it's 50 or even lower that it's actually, a herpes virus. Um, and Dr. Gasek, if he was alive, would probably say the same thing. So yeah, and but there are other. She goes, and she did say there are other research papers and other doctors that have done more with it. You got to remember, Dr. Gasek is gone. His son is in Alabama. So depending upon what they they're looking at, she said, but Dr. Gasek would probably say what I just said. Um, and she goes, him just, you know him too very well. So you did try the antivirals. It did nothing for you. I said, yeah, exactly. Um, but she said, yeah, there are people that respond to it. So it can be caused by a virus. So 80 to 70 to 80%, that's really kind of high. um, and I was like, yeah, I thought so too. But um, and she said it too. Depends what you read out there, you know. She said, and then we talked about, how I'm seeing not in the groups I run, surprisingly. I mean, the groups I founded, surprisingly, but in the group I admin, where people are telling others what to do, what to take, how to take their medicine, and telling them not to listen to their doctors or find a doctor who will do what I'm telling you to do. And she's like, that's dangerous. I was like, yeah, that's what I've been making videos about and lately and pin posting. And she was like, yeah, she goes, you should come do rounds with me someday. There are people that come in here that actually think that my medical degrees mean nothing, and they know more than me, and that I should do whatever they tell them to do. I should do whatever they tell me to do. And I'm like, oh God, if I could be a fly on the wall for that one. And she goes, oh, it happens. She goes, you'd be shocked. She goes, not every patient's like you. Like you're pretty knowledgeable about Meniere's. You're not, she even says herself, you don't know everything, and you don't know everything, but you know a lot more than that average Meniere's patient would. And you never come in here demanding I do this and demanding I do that and talking to me like, you're the doctor and I'm the patient. And I said, why would I? I don't have a degree. I said, I mean, I've read enough New England medical journals in my lifetime, but I'm not qualified to be a doctor, so I wouldn't do that. And she goes, no, exactly. You'll ask questions. You want to know more for your channel. You want to know more for this. And she goes, I'm sure you do that with all your doctors. I'm sure you do that with Dr. Dorfman. I'm sure you do that with cardiologists. I'm sure you do that with this one, that one. I said, oh, yeah, that drive everybody crazy. I drive nurses nuts too. She's like, well, you don't drive me crazy, but do you understand? You're trying to learn. You're not trying to tell people what to do. And that's very dangerous. And it is. But I've discussed that before, and if you are one of those people who think you're a doctor and you're telling people what to do and what to tell tell the doctor what to do, stop. You don't have a medical degree and you're going to hurt somebody. Case in point, the surgeries have worked well for me. Labradectomy gave me about 3-4 years of freedom from vertigo. And then when the vertigo hit again, it was on my right side. And I've had sac decompression surgery. I've had one, and that was a little one, and probably from the virus. But I've had one attack in 6 months, and that worked for me. But I'm not going to stand here and tell people to go out and get labradectomies. Find a doctor who's going to do a labradectomy for you, or find a doctor who's going to do these surgeries. You need this, blah, 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 blah. No. Talk to your doctor. Your doctor knows what's best for you. And on that note, I'll talk to you all later. Just wanted to make a quick video and because what I do is share the journey and tell about my mistakes and what I've learned so you can learn and you don't make the same mistakes I do. And I'll talk to you all later.